enter demand a trade from supply or demand zones. Okay. Okay. Number one, number one thing is to find a supply and demand zone on a higher time frame. That is very important, and wait for the price to come to the zone. One of the things that I don't know if it's done when ask the question on like should we check higher or low time frame? Just a minute. All right, sorry for that, guys. Let's proceed. Yeah, I was saying someone asked whether you check the higher time frame or I mean the exact level, the time frame that you're supposed to check the supply and demand zones. And one of the things that I told you is that the higher the time frame, the better the entries. When you identify a zone that is visible in a higher time frame, the better. Okay, so let me use USD card to elaborate the example, the statement one, where I've said first of all you identify a supply or demand zone on a higher time frame. That is step one. I don't know why my network is super low. Iko slow sana. It's taking centuries kufungua. My Wi-Fi is misbehaving. Let me refresh the page. Right. So let's check this example of USD card. Now when the actually I guess it's the one that we used the other time. The same example. I mean we used this pair, but no problem. So we've said that let me use Euro JPY. So the first statement that I've given is you are supposed to check for a supply or demand in a higher time frame. And in this case, the higher time frame can be either 4 hours daily or daily time frame. We even check zones sometimes. We check zones at Don, unaweza mute mic yako ndo sikuwe na kelele sana. All right. So number one statement is you check for a supply or demand zone in a higher time frame, and we have said that this supply or demand zone can be what we call a 4 hours or a daily time frame. For instance, let me use um, this one here. This is Bitcoin. I identified a supply zone on a higher time, a demand zone on a higher time frame, daily time frame. This was actually so visible. You see this demand zone. So step one is let me read it. You identify the supply zone on a higher time frame, then wait for the price to come to this level. So when I was identifying this zone, the price was at this zone here, around this level. So you wait for the price to come and tap. Remember, we are identifying it like this. So you wait for the price to come and tap at the zone. Okay. So you identify this demand zone, then wait for the price to tap the zone. Remember, when you're identifying this demand zone, bado price haijafika hapa. So that is very important to note. Then the other step is once the price has come to the zone, the demand or supply zone, the other thing is to see whether we have a rejection or acceptance of the zone. Okay, a rejection, I mean we have wicks. Like the wicks shows that we have reaction, like the market is reacting to the to the to the demand zone. Because remember, there are times that you will get that you have several demand zones. For instance, in this case here, we have this one here, and we also have this one here. Those are two, and they qualify to be good demand zones because they have caused what? They have caused this break of structure here. This break of structure here. They have resulted to this break of structure. At the same time, we also discussed the issue of premium and discounted, and in this time we are looking forward to taking a buy. So for a buy, we buy from the discounted zone. So you see they are all in the discounted zones. These and these, they are both in it. So that tells you like these two zones are valid, right? These two zones are very much valid. So once the price has tapped into this zone, it might decide, like when you find that we have two zones in the right zone, like we have two zones that have the qualities of a good supply zone. One becomes what we call decisional point of interest, what we call DPOI, decisional point of interest. Okay, then the other one becomes what? Extreme point of interest, XPOI. So we get the decisional and the extreme point of interest. Okay, so once you have identified them, you just wait for the price to tap into the zone. Once it taps into them, you wait and you check for what we call a reaction. Now, the other day we discussed and we said that we have two types of traders. We have the aggressive and we have the acha nisikie kama mnakumbuka. We said we have two types of traders. We have the aggressive, the other one ni aggressive and nani atawakoa? Barbara? Aggressive and
conservative.
So for a aggressive trader, will set a buy limit at this point automatically. Okay, like you set as a buy limit here, and then you set your stop loss below the zone. For that is aggressive trader. For a conservative trader, Once the price has tapped into the zone, they will go to a lower time frame and check for change of character, internal. Remember, internal. So a conservative trader will go to, let's say, 15 minutes and now check for a change of character. Okay, sawa. So now let's check at this. You see, now price was coming like this. Now this is conservative trader amekuja akaona this, then market ikatap into the zone. Okay, market has tapped into the zone. So a conservative trader is going to wait for market to take this liquidity here, I mean to close above this zone, because this, remember, this is the last lower high. So after the price has closed above this is when the conservative trader is going to wait for an entry. But now market did this, then ikatupea another break. It has broken this low, it has closed below it. So now the shift comes to watching this zone. So now the other thing that conservative trader will wait for market to close above this zone, now which is exactly what has happened here. So then after the conservative trader ameona hivyo, atangoja now the demand zone that has caused now this change of character, which is this one here, then wait. Now let me teach you something that is very critical. This is the model of entry. Let me show you how we get the entries. So always, in fact, most of the time, market will always do something like this. If market is in a buy like this, we are getting higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. The moment we get a change of character here, you don't enter trade immediately. You wait for a correction. You will find that this change of character will be caused by a supply zone that market will leave here. So you will wait for market to correct to that supply zone that the market has left here, then now take the entry at that point. Okay, the opposite is true. If the market is selling like this, when we get a change of character here, market itakuwa imeacha a good visible demand zone around this zone. So after market umeona change of character, you're going to wait for a correction to that demand zone yenye market imeacha hapa. Remember the qualities of our valid demand zones zenye tumediscuss. Now tushaanza kuapply vitu zenye tumesoma. So you will apply the qualities zenye tumesoma. Remember for instance at this point the demand zone lazima at least ikuwe kwa discounted zone. Why? Because at this point we are looking for a buy. At the same time, we have to check for the strength of the demand zone. We have looked at the different types of how to know the strength of a demand zone. So here kutakuwa na several demand zones. So you check for the one that has all the qualities with the market to get there and then enter. Then itafanya hivyo. So this is exactly what has happened here. Let me delete hii kwanza. So you see, the market hapa imetupea the change of character, which is exactly at this point here. Let me delete this so that you see. Hii ni ya kuonyesha the dimni. So let me do this instead. So you see, like this market has done what? Imetupea change of character here. Sindo? So that change of character came from what? These are demand zone. So the trader is going to wait for the market to come to this point, then a buy. Are we there? So atachora kitu kama hii hivi, then wait for market to tap into the zone, then a buy, then apande nayo. That's how a conservative trader is going to do it. Okay, but let me delete this so that when I shift to a higher time frame, you'll be able to see. But for an aggressive trader, ataangalia point, aseme once the market comes to this zone, anachukua immediately. So ataweka hapa aliingia to some profit, then ikarudi ikamtoa. So and a conservative trader has an advantage. However, sometimes the disadvantage of being a conservative trader is you will have to stay in the what do I call it, kwa screen for some time, like you just wait for market ikuje. But for an aggressive trader, yeye akisha analyze market hivi aeke nini zake, anaenda kupiga shughuli zake. Sawa. Yes. So the steps to entering a trade, you first identify a valid demand zone in a higher time frame. Okay? In a higher time frame, which is this which you have identified na hii. You see the demand zones are also visible in 4 hours na pia na daily time frame. So whether you take 4 hours or daily time frame, it's very okay because they are valid, they can be seen. See, then in 4 hours time frame, the demand zones are visible. Then wait for the market to come into the zone. So for instance, for the conservative trade, after imekuja hapa, the first tap here angeshuka to 15 minutes, angalie kama kuna change of character. Okay, if there is change of character, then if there is, now in this case sasa ataangalia nini? Ataangalia this level hapa where markets decided to then sasa ikaanza kushuka, so ataangalia like sasa ataangalia design imeshuka hapa, sawa, hivi bado ijanini, then ika correct ikatupia another break of structure, then ikafanya ile mambo sasa. So that's how you're supposed to look it. So if a conservative trader was watching this first touch reject, so ageignore, angesema no, bado ija close above this point, so anaipea time. Okay, now anaendelea kuimonta ndio sasa until hapa penye sasa amepata the change of character here, then sasa anangoja this market to come to this to this demand zone, then a buy. Okay, that's a conservative trader. Right, I'm now going to give another example. Which pair can I use? USD JPY. This is my analysis. Let me use. Somebody any random pair. All right, let's check our CAD JPY. CAD JPY. So now the first step is to check the general trend of the markets. You see now this market has been doing what? In a bullish move. And this is where we have is this a swing strong or a swing weak? This one. Nyinyi nauliza swali.
Well, it is a strong.
Yes, this is the last swing strong. Why? Because it gave us this break of structure. Please go. Enda nini. I still feel your confidence is very low. Na bado hamja watch the videos na hamja practice. Because sai kitu kama swing strong, that's something that should come automatic. So now this is the final swing strong. Let me see. Yeah, we have another one here, but looks like just a liquidation here. Msijali how I knew that, nimejua hiyo itakuja through experience, usijali. So this is the swing strong. Now the other step, once you have identified this is the final swing strong, now considering now this is the final break of structure, we are looking at the external structures. Please, so usiniambie eti nimesahau na aka kako hapa, that is internal. This is a break of structure here. So now the first step that you should check is among these. Remember we discussed and we said number one thing for you to remember hapa hivi kuna several what we have several what do we call them, demand zones. Sawa, kuna hii kuna hii kuna hii kuna hii na kupanda. Sawa, so step number one is for you to eliminate them because you cannot depend on them all. Sawa, so step number one is to eliminate them. And how do you minimize them? Use the fib tool, because we are looking forward to take what? We are looking forward to take what we call what do we call it? A buy. So for a buy, do we buy at the discount or premium zone?
A discount zone.
A discount
We
zone.
buy at the discount zone.
So now we check for the zones that are only the discounted zones. And so for the discounted zones, the number one zone ni hapa, around this zone, but already imekuwa liquidated kidogo, it's liquidated, mitigated. So now this week, when you go to a lower time frame, you will see this zone well. You will be able to minimize it. Then the other zone is this one here. Okay. There we have this zone here. Up. So the other thing that you check is the zone mitigated. So that's why nime neglect ya kwanza hapa. Sawa. Then step number 3 is now to check which among these which one is stronger among these, using the qualities zenye tulidiscuss ile siku. How the price left the zone, the distance, the time taken in the zone. So for instance, you see this one. Let me delete hizi kwanza. So for instance, you see this one here. You see the price did not take long here. Then the candlestick really left this zone, and the distance covered is shorter compared to this. This has covered a longer distance. So this becomes more stronger than this, but comparing this one, the distance market may move all this distance. So this one is stronger. So this is the strongest. Remember the reason I'm avoiding haka kachina hapa ni juu already kako mitigated. Remember you have to nini a fresh zone. Imekuwa mitigated na hii. So yenye si mitigated ni gani? Hii hapa. Sawa. Hii ndo si mitigated hapa. Sawa. So this is number one zone. Sawa. Remember tukianalyze hivi market iko huku juu bado ijakuja. So this is number one zone to wait, and then the other zone is this one here. Sawa. This zone here. Remember your your stop loss should always be below the zone. So ukialeti zone, nakumbuka nikiwaambia the stop loss square outside now this. So your stop loss will be outside up. Outside. Sawa. Okay? So now we are going to ignore this because it's very weak. You see the price may left this zone with some small candlesticks azikae mzuri as opposed to this one. Yeah. So we have these two zones. Na nimewambia those two zones, one is the decisional point of interest, the other one is extreme point of interest. Something else that I've said is listen, that most of the time the decisional point of interest tends to hold. By holding is price will respect the zone and go in your favor. However, if the decisional point of interest is invalidated, like the price imekuja hapo ikamanipulate then ikaenda, please note that, are we there? Please note that the extreme point of interest is going to hold. So the extreme point of interest is going to hold. So if this is invalidated, market is going to hold here. Are we there? So the other step is now you define the kind of trader you are. If you are a kind of a trader who is conservative, you're going to wait for the price to tap into the zone, then go to a lower time frame. If you're an aggressive trader, you're just going to set your buy limit here, stop loss here. So, all right, let's take now a conservative trader. Price imeingia hapo, then akaenda to 15 minutes kuangalia change of character. Sawa. Now this is the first touch here. This was the first touch here at this point. So what happens is now the trader is going to check these at this. This is the lower low, lower high. So we have a lower low here, lower high, then lower low. So the trader is going to wait for the market to close above this level here. So if the market goes past this zone, they close above it. Remember the point is close, the candle close on above that level. See weak. So that tells you what? Now, if the market closes above this level like this, the trade is going to wait for the market to come back to the demand zone that caused the change of character, then panda nayo. So, however, see in this case, it failed. So no trade. Wait until now. From there now, focus shift to this zone imetupea break of structure here. So mnaona break of structure here. Like imefanya hivi, then imetupea break of structure here. So the trader is going to wait for a buy to pay a change of character here when it comes past that zone. So now mimi nachoranga week hivi, nasema this is the zone that I'm waiting. So you see the waiting is going. So bado hatuja change focus. Why? Because bado hii zone ijatupea a break of structure huko, tutasema we have a new swing strong. Sawa. So nataka get used to how we shift from external to internal structures, change of character in the internal and external, how we are playing with them. So now this trader is still waiting to see a good valid break, change of character here. You cannot consider this as a change of character due this break is very weak. It's what we call a mere liquidation. So in fact, for someone mwenye ni kichwa ngumu kama mimi atachukua sell sahi. How? I'm going to consider this as a break of structure hapa. Aka break of structure here. Sawa? And then market imefanya nini? After kunaweka break kuna ka change of character. So market imerudi vile nimewaambia. Nikiwafunza mambo ya fair value gap nitaonyesha how to use fair value gap to take entries. So mimi nitachukua sell because kuna change of character, but a short term sell. Sawa, short term sell. Sawa, but usijali hizo nitawafunza polepole. What I want you is to learn how to trade with the main trade kwanza. The main trend in this case we are looking for to take a buy. Sawa. Why? Because for our time frame market is bullish. Sawa. I hope we were changanyi. I just want you to learn how to navigate between a higher time frame, lower time frame, how you can take entries for targeting higher time frame like that. Okay? Yes, so for a conservative trader bado entry iko confirmed, but for a aggressive trader aliingia kwa profit kwanza na kuna kitu inaitwa trailing. Maybe ishatolewa na trailing stop loss. Nitawafunza ku trail na whatever and all that what it means. So ashaingia in profit but akakuwa kicked out by this move here because alikuwa sha trail. Nitafunza in detail. Okay, let me just highlight slowly but so trailing is, let's say you have taken a trade like this one here, you're already in profit. So trailing is setting break even whereby you are trading risk free. So you are going to adjust this stop loss from here. Remember hii line ilikuwa stop loss from here. Uiweke wapi? Hapa hivi where you entered the trade such that in case the trade comes back, you're not going to enter into loss. Itafunga na a small profit ama break even. Break even inamaanisha the entry point whereby you're not going to incur any loss, you're not going to have any profit. So amekuwa stopped out na trailing stop loss hapa. But sasa kuna wale gangsters wanasemanga it's either stop loss ama take profit, whereby they are not going to trail, they are going to let the stop loss there, either trade iende kwa take profit, TP1 itakuwa huko of course na TP2 huko, so it's either iende kwa take profit or irudi huko, sawa. So for aggressive trader kuna mwenye already aliingia kwa profit but kini kamtoa juu alikuwa ametrail, ama kuna mwenye aliingia profit ikaingia negative na ishaingia profit tena. That requires a good psychology. There is a whole topic on psychology that I'm going to train you. So already ako kwa profit but it doesn't look promising. Why? I don't know kama niliwatumia PDF ya action, price action 1. There is also the language of the market. We said that we have a correction and impulse. And one of the characteristics of a correction is when market inasonga hivi. I want you to realize something. Ikishuka inashuka na momentum, na ikifanya hivi inafanya hivi. These are characteristics of a correction. So inashuka na momentum but ina correct hivi. Inashuka na momentum na correction naende hivi. So chances are now this market is going to crash to this level before we buy. That comes with the experience, but you know how I have checked it. You just use the language of the market. You see, these are correction, so we're going to get another impulse. So we're going to get another impulse here. Remember, all these are correction, but we are having a correction within a correction. So external structure, this is impulse, this is a correction, but inside this correction, of course, we have impulses and correction. Remember, we drew something like this. Lewis Kelly alielezea vizuri sana. Should not confuse you like this, okay? So it's so clear that this market will continue selling. Most likely, it's going to come to now this now the extreme point of interest. We are going to get a good buy from this level. Are we getting? Swali? Tunaelewa ama kuna swali? Yeah. So I mean, it's easy for you to make it like get an exact point where you're going to take an entry. Sasa umepata green light how we take entries like in the market, like we are not gambling, si ndio?
Yes.
Yeah, so usidanganye na mtu trading ni kubet. Si kubet waku. It's let me tell you, once ume practice enough utakuwa unaona structures, una smile, unalala. Wewe unaweka trade zako na unalala tu. Unajiambia it's either stop loss. Unasikia watu na kiburi huko akisema no risk no Ferrari. Now you can start relating. Ukipata entry unasema hii nanunua Ferrari nayo. So once you get that good experience, manzi, spend all the time in the market. Like just see how these charts, as in zina forming just similar patterns. That's what makes us able to predict what is going to happen next in the market. Okay? So tomorrow we are going to repeat the same thing. I just give you another example. Then from there we're going to start presentations again. When walikuwa nasema laptop zao ziko na shida ya kupresent, sasa hawana option. So yeah, we continue with the practice. Then on Monday we are going to open a demo account. We start trading using a demo account. Now this is first to help you learn how to place trades, how to do hizo trading, stop loss nimewambia, how to set the buy limits for aggressive traders, because I know kuna watu hapa pia wanataka kuwa those aggressive traders, because kama uko na job ingine yenye inakurequire kutoka kwa nyumba, you just do analysis in the morning and leave. Unaacha umeset trade yako. So una time ya kufollow market, the chart for so long. So I'm also going to show you how to set sell limit, buy stop, buy, and I also tell you what they mean. So That is from next week on Monday. So this week we practice much on this. Then I will also, tomorrow I'll also introduce the concept of ile ilikuwa inasumbua kina Cotton fair value gap ama imbalance and how we use it to enter trades. I'm also going to share that tomorrow. Then on Wednesday sasa presentation mnaanza. Kila mtu na siku yake like that. Is that okay? All right, so what I'll admonish you guys, please spend more time on the charts. Please get used to kuona chart, the patterns and all that. You won't be easily able to see them like juu ya umeona tu class, like you just assume like nitaiona. No, it doesn't work that easily. You have to take time, spend sleepless nights practicing so that you train your eyes to see them. And you know what? Once you start seeing them, you cannot unsee them. Those patterns and all that. Practice on all those concepts zenye pia tumekuwa tukipitia all through so that you get used. Nisiulize hii ni swing strong ama ni swing weak, ibaki ukumbuki. Ama umesahau na change of structure tunainini wapi. Sawa, because remember money is change of character bado tunazi apply and all that. We apply all those concepts. Na bado kuna story ya liquidity that I'm going to introduce. Then pia nitawafunza mambo ya fundamental analysis because there is a way you're supposed to also integrate it so that you get perfect entries. All that. I'm going to share with you that knowledge. Yes, all for free. So brace up. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining. Wenye tunaenda Rema Fest, tukue tuna communicate mapema ndo tunajua kama tutatenga siku ya sisi wote twende. Vile tunatenganga ya sherehe, mbona tusitenge ya kwenda Rema Fest? Alright, otherwise
by this situfike huko Thursday.
We mbona si wenu?
Mimi na wa invite Thursday, kuna worship experience ya Nathaniel Basi. Leo ilikuwa ya Sinach. Na ni kuzuri.
Tutapanga kesho.
Nakaribisha wapenzi, wapenda nao. Kina Salome atatuwatch tu from Uganda.
Huyo acha aende Faneri.
Huyo Faneri iko karibu. Victor Njagi pia anaweza kuja. Gregory, wewe hata unaweza tembea tu hadi hapo. Barbara invite you.
Nitateka siku. I'm hoping one of these evenings. But I've always wanted to attend those fests. Najipatanga events inakuwa mingi mazee. I have always wished. So nitapanga
nitafuta uponyaji.
Kuja upokee uponyaji.
Hii kikohozi yangu. Nakuja na imani.
Kuja pokea uponyaji. Kuna apostle anaitwa Joshua Selman akiongea hivi, hiyo homa itapotea tu hivi. Akisema tu hivi haleluya, wewe unaweza rudi kwa nyumba.